Hello, everybody.
Hello, welcome back to the DonkTea podcast
With your fave hosts,
Alyssa and Jenna. And by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm very tired and I have been yawning this past like 30 minutes. So if my eyes seem really puffy and red, that is why.
Yeah, because we didn't just watch a really sad TikTok and cry about it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that is also true.
Anyways, so today we're gonna be talking about feeling stagnant and like how to fix that, what to do to like grow, and all that good stuff. I mean, we're still in the process of all this growing and learning. I've said that so many times in so many episodes.
But it's true.
But it's so true. Like everything that we talk about in our podcasts, like please don't take it to the grave. Like don't take it to the grave is what I'm saying. Because we might change our mind tomorrow, we might change our mind in a week. Like everyone's constantly changing, and that's why it's so hard nowadays, because you can find one clip of somebody saying one thing or doing something
out of context too.
Yeah, and their career and reputation is ruined. And some things it's like, okay, if it's bad enough, I agree with that. But things that we talk about on here can be vulgar and can be like funny and sarcastic and all that kind of stuff. So just be wise of that. Like we're just rambling. Like it's crazy because we don't think about people actually listening and watching our videos. Like we went live on TikTok the other day and like hundreds of people like asking us questions about our life and like saying what videos are their favorite. They listen to the podcast and we're like, oh my god, like people actually listen. Like that's crazy. But yeah, so that's what we're gonna be talking about today.
Yeah, and it's really humbling listening or hearing that people are supporting, and even people in our lives that we're acquainted with. It's nice and humbling. But yeah, so let's talk about signs of being stagnant or being in a stagnant state. Because for me, I was stagnant, and I still have tendencies to kind of fall into being stagnant.
Me too.
Every so often, and sometimes I don't even realize it.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to
being stagnant.
Yeah, like what it is. I say like now I feel like I've gotten much better, but in the past I've definitely like signs for me would be I would just not prioritize like any of my goals or anything. And in terms of goals, I would go nowhere with them. Like I wouldn't accomplish anything. I'd start a task and then I wouldn't finish it, and then I'd start a new task and I wouldn't finish it. And it like kept going like that.
Yeah.
But
I think one for me is like when I find myself not putting myself or not taking myself out of my comfort zone, and like every day is the exact same. And like I totally understand routines. I'm a very routine oriented person. I like things a certain way, but I have come to realize that like obviously nothing is going to go exactly the same like every time you do something, and it shouldn't. Like you should be changing, you should be learning things. And I'm talking about like with goals and like life, not like everyday like lifestyle, because you're gonna everyone wakes up, eats breakfast. I mean, most people does their thing. But as far as like goals, yeah, like what you're saying, talking about something and then not like following through with it, or just being all talk, basically. Like, oh, I want to do this someday. Oh, I can't wait until someday I do this. It's like, okay, why don't you change that? Like, just one step at a time. Like, you don't need to have this crazy, like, insane goal that you need to, like, hit by a certain time. Like, there's gonna be little goals along the way of a bigger goal. And, like, you have to give yourself credit. You have to, like, appreciate the things that you go through in order to get those goals.
100%. Word.
That's our go-to. But
yeah, I really like what you said. And
but I think sorry to cut you off.
No, that's good.
with feeling stagnant also comes with feeling depressed. Like that is such
So true.
a big feeling that I've felt and that I've seen other people feel when you're very stagnant in life. And that could be separated into different categories like relationships. You're feeling really stagnant in your relationship. You're feeling really stagnant in your fitness goals. Um but yeah, I don't know. That's just something I felt like, but you don't have to have every category figured out. Like you can feel stagnant in one area and then be like thriving in another area. Um, but trying to have balance and align everything is kind of very important. So,
Yeah.
because it can throw off your other areas. Like, if, for instance, your relationship aspect is very stagnant, you're feeling really depressed, then it's going to affect your career aspect as well. Because as much as everyone tries to separate everything, I mean, you're human and like your life is your life and it all blends together. So, yeah.
Word. I want to add to that. I noticed within myself, um, I tend to get stagnant and depressed. Like it goes hand in hand. For one, I just get so overwhelmed with everything. I just want to sleep. I don't want to be around anyone. And even just getting up out of my bed and doing simple daily tasks overwhelms me. Uh, and I've been there. Trust me, I've been there. I've lived through it. It sucks. And uh, disclaimer, we are by no means diagnosing anyone. So if you have these symptoms, we're not trying to diagnose you with clinical depression.
No.
So if if you feel like you have that, I would go see someone professional. But that being said, yeah, I feel like that's another like really important sign is if you're sleeping, like your sleep schedule is completely out of whack. Like let's say you stay up super late and do whatever and then you sleep all day the next day and then or you stay up and you don't get a lot of sleep because you are so hyper focused on being better and doing, it's just I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like that in itself, like you can easily become stagnant because you're not putting forth the effort
Yeah,
with everything.
you're constantly playing catch up with like
Yes,
getting more sleep and feeling better because sleep is so important. Like
it really
when
is.
I was really stressed out going through a lot, my sleep was all sorts of messed up and like it was affecting every area in my life. Like I couldn't think as clearly. I was constantly tired. I my eating habits were all messed up because I was staying up late, eating super late. Like it definitely like sleep is really important and that goes into like fixing this like stagnant level and the feeling, depressed about it is fixing your sleep. That's one of the most important things for me, I guess.
Me too.
I cannot function. Like, even if I have like an hour or two less than what I normally get, it's like I can feel a difference. Like, today, even I slept an hour less than I normally do because I got woken up by construction. Ugh, and I couldn't go back to sleep because I just didn't like have time and didn't want to. And I'm feeling tired. Like, today, I just feel like blah because didn't get enough sleep.
Yeah.
So, what other
Other signs.
or no, what other things that can you do to like bring yourself out of that
Oh
stagnant?
yeah. I'm not an expert by any means,
Or like what have
but
you done or like that kind of
yeah.
stuff.
So for me, I take baby steps. I'm very gentle with myself because I know I can really get in my head and I'm very such a perfectionist sometimes and I can be really hard on myself. So, I learned to take it for what it is. It is what it is. I cannot change the past. It happened. Therefore, learn from it. Don't dwell. So, I take a look at my habits and what I'm doing that's leading me to feeling like this or feeling stagnant, not going anywhere in life. And sleep was a huge thing for me. That's why it's very important for me to get adequate sleep and to wake up at a certain time. preferably early in the morning. I feel like you're more productive that way. I don't know. It's just me. But
I think you can be productive at any hour of the day. However, later in the day does something. Your body goes through different changes throughout the day, just where like the atmosphere or like the gravitational pull. Like I feel like there's so much science behind it. Like you literally get tired at night. Your body produces melatonin. Like there's scientific reasons. Like we're not meant to be awake during the nighttime. I feel like, I mean, we're not nocturnal, so
yeah.
there's reasons why our bodies need certain things and vitamins and sleep and sunlight and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
vitamin D, so important.
Yeah, that's another thing. Vitamin D deficiency can cause depression, anxiety, all that sort of stuff, and bad sleep. And so I think getting the right amounts of, going outside, but also if you live somewhere where it's not sunny and it's, cold, whatever, taking vitamins, like to get that, the proper nutrition.
To satisfy the deficiencies.
Yeah, I'm tired, like I said.
But it's so funny because she underslept, but I overslept.
Yeah, and usually it's like the other way around.
Yeah, I got way too much sleep because I set my alarms to PM instead of AM. So I slept in a couple hours.
I did that the other day when I set an alarm for something. I was like, why is this going off at 11:30 p.m.?
Yeah, so, but yeah, another way to kind of help get out of this is to physically write down goals. And you need to write goals that are, you're going to achieve. Achievable, realistic goals. Like don't set, like for me, this is what I've done. I would write out an entire plan and outline of everything I wanted done, but I would overwhelm myself and I would only complete like one or two and I would just be burnt out.
Yeah, like I'd rather set smaller, more realistic goals and feeling more accomplished after each one rather than one huge unrealistic goal that's going to take me 10 years, 20 years to achieve. Like it's crazy, like cuz you want to say like dream big, which you still can, but you should have small tasks within or accomplishments within that goal. As we were saying, it's really important to set smaller achievable goals, even if it's making your bed. Like even the smallest task like will help.
I remember that I was in a time in my life where I was very, very stagnant and came depression as well. And getting out of my bed to make myself something to eat or just drink a glass of water was a huge goal for me. Like that was something I was so proud of myself for doing.
Yeah.
Or just going to the gym, literally just stepping foot inside the gym. And even if I didn't, like, just going on a cardio machine or just doing something, I remember I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be hard on myself. I'm not going to destroy my self-image just because I'm not amazing or great when I first start out at something. That's unrealistic, okay? And
no, yeah, it's really almost embarrassing to admit, but eating a meal was an accomplishment for me just because I was just going through so much and like just the smallest things like taking a shower, eating food, like what you're saying, like when you're at like a very low point, those little tasks are accomplishments. Like anything that you want to make an accomplishment, do it. Just because it's normal and it's second nature for someone else doesn't make it any less for you. And like I would get anxiety responding to emails like for opportunities. Like those were accomplishments for me like at one point. Doing my schoolwork, going to class, like all those things that seemed so normal for other people seemed hard for me. And yeah.
You know what's crazy? I remember going to Target or going to the grocery store by myself was so huge for me.
Me too. Like because going by myself to a store.
I literally would get in my car, drive to the place in the parking lot, and I would sit in the parking lot. And there was a couple times where I could not bring myself to go in the store, and I just left to go back home.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
literally done that too.
or if I like go into the store and I like grab something or whatever, and I just have such bad social anxiety that I just put it back and I
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah, like I've literally canceled like dentist appointments. I've literally driven to the dentist and sat there and then been like, I'm too anxious to go inside. And I called and or I wouldn't even call. I would wait for them to call me and be like, where are you? And I'd be like, oh, I can't come today. I'm sorry. Like that's so it it's embarrassing, but it's also like that's what I went through at one point. And like if you are feeling that or have gone through that, like trust me, it's a lot more common than you think. Like just because people around you or your friends or family haven't dealt with it or aren't dealing with it doesn't mean that it's like, obviously I wouldn't say it's necessarily normal because that is these are all symptoms of really bad anxiety, really bad depression that you should get help and get figured out. We I did at one point, like when it was really bad, I got help. I talked to therapists and tried to get more of like an understanding of what I was feeling and why I was feeling that way. And then into adulthood, I realized that I had to make some lifestyle changes and avoid like certain things because it would like trigger my anxiety really bad. And that's why like relationships sometimes trigger that anxiety. And when I'm not in a relationship, I feel good. Like I feel productive. I feel less anxious. And yeah,
Light bulb.
it makes me scared though to be in a relationship because I'm like, I don't want to go back to that because the first few months are great until I start getting actual like real feelings for somebody. And then, yeah. Anyway, sorry. What were you saying?
Yeah, no, light bulb because being in a relationship that's toxic, specifically toxic,
Yeah.
uh, I feel like it's very easy to become stagnant. Uh, Amidst like all the chaos and whatnot,
Because you're
uh,
like dependent on each
you're
other.
yeah,
You're
it's like a
codependent.
trauma bond. You guys are very codependent, and that is very toxic. And
Mm.
just having come out of something like that and going back to your own self and your everyday life, it can be hard, and it was really hard. It was a big adjustment for me, uh because I was so set in the routine, uh and I became stagnant. um there were still things that I was doing for myself, but my time and energy, it's so sad and embarrassing to say, but I tried to focus a lot of my time and energy towards the other person
See, that's not
because I thought it's
good.
because I loved them so much, but it's because
No.
I was very codependent, and
Yeah.
I don't know, I was just scared to be by myself, I guess, but
I feel like when like a relationship is healthy, both people still do their own thing, but they incorporate their significant other in their lives too. I hate when people like they're so like I want to be so independent in a relationship and they block off like parts of their life and like don't tell their significant other or they just separate it so much and it doesn't feel like include they're not included. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like
I know, yeah, I know exactly
and
what you
like
mean.
every relationship's different and what could feel really toxic to somebody else might not be to another couple. And I do think that if you are starting to feel stagnant, whether it be like cuz okay, I feel like what people are going through with themselves in their life might reflect onto the relationship also. Like it could have nothing to do with the other person, but it's not fair to like not, you know, give give your energy into the relationship either. Like just because you need to figure out your own stuff. Like if you want to make the relationship work, that's where the balance comes into hand. So,
Being stagnant in relationships,
mhm.
that it really can affect the other person. Like,
Yeah.
without going into too much detail, and plus, I don't want to go over the time. Basically, let's say, for example, I may or may not be talking about my own experiences, but intimacy in relationships, and let's say the couple becomes stagnant, and it's not as, it wasn't like it was before, or, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. Even people who are in long-term relationships or in marriages, and maybe the intimate life kind of subsided a little bit and got stagnant. It can really affect. It can affect both parties, and I'm not saying you're obligated to, give the person what they want in terms of intimacy, but I feel like it should be both.
Yeah, like
coming to
you should never be like
an agreement.
Like, I'm in a relationship, don't gotta try now. Like, you should always be like wanting to win the person over, even when you've been with them for forever. You don't need to like, drain your whole energy and your whole life for the other person. But like I said, like, communication's always key. Like, communicating the problem, because sometimes people don't even realize it. They've just been busy and they really don't know. Like, oh shoot, I didn't even realize I wasn't meeting your needs and wants. But it can definitely like affect your life, like, without even realizing it. Like, if you're not feeling desired by who you're with, then it can hurt. It definitely can hurt.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
But
but like I said, the other person has to want it. They can't just like
being forced. That's like, no one likes that.
Because like, there's things that you do in relationships for the other person, clearly, that you might not enjoy as much. But like, when it comes to intimacy and like connection, like, if you're forcing that, I don't know what to say. Like, it's just, if you have to like, it's just like I said, it's different if you're genuinely busy and you want to do it, but you can't, versus you can do it, but you don't really want to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. But anyways, we're gonna wrap it up here. Yeah. I think this was a really good topic. Like, I definitely feel like a lot of people might be able to relate to this topic, because we're still like I said, we're still going through it. It's not like we're we're doing all this crazy stuff. Like,
we're barely scratching the surface of our 20s. We just entered our 20s not that long ago, so we're still experiencing. We're still, we should start a podcast in our 30s.
Oh my god. We'll be still doing this one.
Oh yeah. Well,
I mean, like, this is like a 20s podcast and 30s podcast. Yeah. Oh my god, that'd be funny. But I don't know. We're just,
there's an airplane going over where I live. Just if you hear it.
We like wish you guys all the happiness, and we hope that you are able to grow and like bring yourself out of your comfort zones and do things that you want to do, regardless of if you have depression, anxiety, other things. We just have experienced the most with depression and anxiety. But thanks for listening. If you listen to our episodes, we definitely put a lot of thought into it. Like, we don't just do it just to do it. Like, we want to do it because we like it. We think it's fun, and it's almost like we're like, having a convo.
Yeah, exactly. We're kind of like chit-chatting and gossiping about, some things depending on the topic. Thank you guys so much for watching, and subscribe to the DonkTea podcast. Also follow our Instagram for any podcast updates. And we will see you in the next one.
Bye.